what I want to get into in my short time with you is we created these meetings. Well, how about this? I'll ask you, Jeff, why do you think we decided to start doing these Road to Hall of Fame meetings?
To help people produce, at a high level and protect more families.
Before that, it was for us to figure out who wanted to produce at a high level and provide for other families. Meaning you don't know, if I recruited all of you, and you all say, I'm gonna go kill it, and I'm like, all right, and I pour into all of you. Like, I'm do the best I can. I don't know if you really want to do it or not, but I go, hey, let's do a meeting that you don't have to show up to. Yeah, it's free and we feed you, but if you'd like to get better, come on to the meeting. And then we can kind of pull apart, okay, I got 100 writing aid or 100 people I'm working with, but 25 of them show up to the meeting. Let's get better, right? So I think at the end of the day, are you with him? What's your first name?
Mike.
Mike. Is he your security or what? Jesus. All right, if a fight breaks out, you're on my side, dude. I mean, it's early in the morning. I had a half a muffin. Like, we're on the same team if something happens. Okay, just.
He does work in the prison.
That makes some sense. That makes some sense. If I was in there, I wouldn't be fighting people if he was angry. So we're good. But here's what we're trying to accomplish is, and here's in my time, the struggle for most people in our business. I got my license 14 years ago. The leads I had were called RW leads. Okay, and I don't know if any of you worked with me or not. And they were 2 to 8 years old. Okay, 2 to 8 years old, straight up. They're $5 a piece, and that's all I had. And I would call the people up, and my peers would go, how old are the leads? And I'd be like, what do you care? Why? Well, I want to know how old they are. Okay, why? Good question. Why? I answer question with a question. Why would you want to know that? Well, I know what I'm calling. You're calling a lead, a name and a piece of paper. If you take this napkin, I ain't messing with your food, bro, okay? And you wrote on it with a highlighter, and what's your first name?
Kevin.
Kevin. If it said Kevin with a phone number, I'd be like, sweet. Hey, Kevin, Shawn, I'm calling from the Benefits Center about the napkin you filled out with a highlighter, and I'll see you tomorrow at 6. Like, I was very presumptive because I knew that he wanted life insurance. He filled it out at some point in time in his life. The problem for all of us is we're spoiled now. Being straight up, we have leads everywhere. We have new leads. And when people go like, how many do you expect to, so about 3 months ago, this guy said, I had these instant internet life leads and I can't book them. They're just not working out well for me. And I'm like, well, because you suck. If it was a female, I'd be like, I'm sorry. I'd be nice. If it was a guy, I was like, well, you suck. Do you want me to help you get better? He's like, well, yeah, I guess. You guess or you want to get better? Yes. So I take the same leads that suck, okay? The same leads that suck. And I call people up, tell them to come over their house and book 15 appointments. Then the person sells $8 grand because it's not complicated. Except you, and for us, there's small nuances you can fix. Of course you can fix it. If you call me up and you give me opportunity to ask you questions and talk, I'll eat you alive on the phone. But if you talk over me nicely, I can't get a word in edgewise, and you're just gonna meet me. I'm not on the phone, and again, the other thing I'll tell you about hybrid, I love hybrid sales. I do. I love in-home, phone, and Zoom. I do. But if you want my advice, what should you do? You should go out and see people in their house if you have the opportunity to do it. I'm telling you that right now. You do whatever you want to do, but for those of you who get leads and you're like, well, I like to sit around, and by the way, if you call in your pajamas, don't post pictures. It's weird. I don't want to see it. I'm just male or female. I'd like not to see it ever, if that's cool with everybody. Like, I'm not trying to be funny. Well, I get to call and wear whatever I want from my house. Okay, dude, that's weird. I'd like to not see that ever again. I'd like to just all be adults and go to work. So if you have the opportunity to get face-to-face with people, you're going to be better early on. It's easier. I'm not saying not to do all of the above. I'm not saying not to call people in Zoom. I'm just telling you, if you can get there within 3 or 5 hours, you should drive to them because you'll be better. I think had you started, Matt, and you had only had to call people over, I think you wouldn't have worked with us. It was you got in front of them, looked them in the eye, and they got to see who you are. See, the magic for most of us is we are our clients. Have you called anybody yet? Okay. What is your definite, what do you believe about it? You haven't even gone out yet. What do you believe, who do you believe our clients are?
Everybody.
But explain to me if you don't mind. Like, explain to me with more specificity. Who do you, if I said, hey man, what's your first name again?
Mike.
Mike, if you were recruiting me and I said, hey Mike, who do we call? Explain to me what your answer would be.
Families that need to take care of themselves and their lineage, everything.
Okay? And that's obviously not untrue. We have families that are mostly middle American families that have said, I don't know how to take care of this. They're probably a first-time home buyer. They've never gotten life insurance before, and they weren't educated on it. They weren't raised up in it. The problem for most of us is we forget that when we call them. And then we call them, and our ambivalence makes them nervous. And that's what we have to understand about people, is that you have to decide how you're going to carry yourself. Now, I could go through here and not being mean, I could be like, I trust you, dude, could you smile, could you sit up in your chair, could you act interested, do you always look so uninterested, you're a terrible verbal listener, can you move on, that's not complicated. What I tell people is listen to them and ask questions like they were your immediate family. Put yourself in a position to understand what people are going through. And you know what mistake most of us make? We don't know what they're thinking. What should we do if we don't know what they're thinking? Ask them. We don't do it though, because God forbid. I'm like, hey, Kevin, can I ask you something? Why do you look like you literally want to rip the paint off the walls and throw me out your house? And I say nothing. Why? Well, because that's how he looks. And you're like, man, he was freaking me out. Okay, what did you say? I don't know. I just didn't even know if he was interested. Kevin, where I'm confused, with all due respect, please, Kevin, please, with all due respect, you know you want this. See, people go, they need the life insurance. Yeah, I got that part. Everybody needs life insurance. They want it. But they don't want it from somebody who doesn't see how important it is and can't show them through their interactions that they need to be protected. We have to be able to confront people, interrogate them with their reality. I say that all the time. I'm going to interrogate reality. You can interrogate mine. But the reality is we have this. We don't have protection in place. We have no choice. What are we doing here today? But a lot of that is just strictly activity and the way you carry yourself. But that's where our struggle is. And we don't understand at the end of the day, if you come to my house, Mike, I'm not looking for a friend. I'm sorry. You go, I build a really good rapport with them. Good. Buckle up, in 4 months, they'll cancel it. I'm not saying to not be nice and build some kind of connection. But if you become my best friend, I'm going to eventually say no because you're my friend. Familiarity breeds contempt. So you have to start thinking about all this. When you hear all these men and women talk today, like Eric Schmidt's coming up after me. Eric Schmidt, how many of you know Eric Schmidt? Okay. You know him pretty well? Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, how likable do you think Eric Schmidt is? 10. 10. To you, because you know him. Okay. Eric Schmidt's background's in the car business. We're going to test your honesty. When he started here, do you think he was more focused on getting paid or protecting families? Getting paid. He's a getting paid kind of dude. Somewhere along the way, he started falling in love with protecting families. And he knew that if he always put them first, he was going to have a better result, more of a byproduct. He was going to make more money for his family. He realized that, and he literally fell in love with protecting them. Then it became a challenge as to not leave any of them unprotected, because his background for 25 years was transactions. How many of you have not dialed yet? No, you're just getting started. Who's brand new? How many started? What were you doing before this? Car business. Shocker. You got an army of them. For how many years?
6.
6. Okay. Who recruited you here? Liz did. Did you know her previously? No. Okay. So what were you doing? Were you sales, finance? Finance. Okay. So as far as our business goes, what is one thing that you're going, man, I have trepidation about this. I'm curious. I'm wondering. It's an obstacle. What is one thing that you're going, when you're thinking about this business, I'm excited, but I wonder if this will work or this okay? What part for you has got you thinking, I wonder if this will be an obstacle for me? What do you think your biggest obstacle will be?
Probably phone calls.
Okay.
I was always, before I was a finance manager, I was a salesman.
Yeah.
So people were in front of me.
Correct.
BDC who made all the phone calls for me.
Correct. Okay, so you know when you're in the car business and I walk in a lot, you don't listen to a damn word I say, but you act like you are? And you talk over me nicely, but you're listening to me, but you're not really listening to me. Everything you do is keep moving me another damn car. Eric Schmidt sold me 7 cars in 4 months. I think every day I got a car. Every time I ran into him, I got a car. It's the same concept on the phone. All you're doing is selling your contact. But that's where most people get confused. And the reality is you are selling things to people that they did not need, because you'll never convince me I needed a car. That's a lie. There's plenty of modes of transportation. That's a lie. I didn't need a new car. I may have wanted one, I might not have wanted one, but you sold people stuff. No, you didn't do nothing wrong. They came in to buy a car, and you found them, hunted them down, and did the best you could to sell them, right? These people already want your help. This isn't sales, in case anybody gets confused. The reason people are bad at this is they don't work hard, and they don't genuinely care about other people. And they're more concerned about their own well-being. And that's a struggle for most people. Like your kids, the greatest gift you'll teach your kids is not to give what anybody thinks. God's in charge. You can't judge my kid. You can't judge me. I can't judge you. Do what you want. What do I care? As long as you're not hurting me, it ain't my business. But a lot of us are so worried about what people are going to think or say. You also took control when you were in the car business. You have to do the exact same thing on the phone. You hear nothing anybody says, you keep moving. It doesn't matter. And that was when we started with Dominique. He used to tell me all kinds of stuff. Well, I call in North Carolina and they won't meet with me because of church on Sunday. And I was like, that's actually the dumbest thing I've heard in a week. That's like, congratulations. So I called his leads and I was like, hey, how you doing, Liz? Benefit Center. Liz is like, I said, I got to come out on Sunday. She'd be like, go to church. I'm like, good. Yeah, me too, for an hour, right? Yeah, cool. Okay, when is your hour, Liz? 10 to 11. Okay, good. Let's do 1. I stay for coffee after. Okay, Liz, let's do 2. We need to protect this thing. I know. God's watching. See you Sunday at 2. Like it didn't matter. When he said, let's call it 7 a.m., he's like, it's too early. I'm like, no, it's not. They answer the phone. First time we did it, lady answered the phone. She goes, you know what time it is? I said, you answered the phone. That's exactly what I said. You answered the phone. Yes, ma'am, I know what time it is. 7. She said, I'm driving. I said, perfect time for us to book an appointment. Well, it's not a good time for me to talk. Outstanding. When's going to be a perfect time for you to be sitting at your house, stationary, talking? Oh, tonight at 6. I'll definitely be doing it. Call me back then. I'll see you tonight at 6. Because you're stationary. At the end of the day, you have to start thinking and respecting your time. It has to be valuable enough for you to do that in the home and on the phone, Zoom, whatever your deal is. But the bottom line is, the struggle is going to be for most people is, the biggest struggle is, how long you been working in the Department of Corrections?
13 years.
13 years. What were you doing before that?
Selling cars.
Selling cars. Okay. And then went in DLC. So it's getting people to understand that this is, dude, if you fall in love with helping people, it's a wrap. And if you don't like helping them, you shouldn't do this. I'm just telling you, because you might not fall in love with that part along the way. And all the things people talk about, like, how do I avoid chargebacks? I'm like, sell enough insurance. I know 30% of it falls off in 13 months. I just sold enough, and it was never an issue for me at all. Well, I had 2 charged back. Yeah, and you wrote 5 for the month. So congratulations. We need to get out there and go to work. And I think that's the thing that holds us back, is that work ethic. And the problem is, most of us were raised with no money. Maybe some of you have rich moms and dads. Good for you. If you do, if you have rich mom and dad and you're here, you did something wrong to them because they didn't leave you enough money. So they don't like you because you're here. So now that thing's passed. Most of us don't understand that as we start making enough money to eat, we have to keep working. It's a trap. It's a capitalistic trap. And I understood that when I was in middle school and high school, when the people taught me. I knew it better than my teachers. They didn't even know it because they were teaching me. So they didn't have any idea what real life looked like. They were teaching me in the classroom. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. Capitalism only works if we can keep all these people down and get everybody to be scared to do anything. If you can be fearful to go out and do it on your own. Because in the car business, they go, what are you going to do without us? Like, you need to work here. Dude, I don't need to work here. Oh, yes, you do. No, I definitely don't. I'm smarter than you. Have you had bosses you're smarter than? That you worked harder than? You have better social skills? You were just a better person than they were. Yet they were in charge. So you have to decide, are you going to take control of your own life? And that part, nobody can make you do. I think you should leave here and come up with your goals for the next 90 days. I'm not a big 5-year, 90. How many appointments will I run every week for 90 days? I think you should sit down with the people in your life, your friends, your family, your children, and you say, here's what I'm going to do. See, when you started, Matt, I just wanted you to do well, and you were trying to figure it out. Got my job, had it forever. Let me try it over here a little bit. Let me see. And I'm like, I wish he would just burn the bridge and go to work because he'd kill it. But that wasn't my role. That's his decision to make. His family's a grown man. But you have to decide what the next 90 days will look like for you. And I promise you, if you put everything you got into it the next 90 days, you'll at least know how good hey, if you do everything you think you need to do for 90 days, you call people when you're in the house, because by the way, that's when you should be calling and asking for help. The only time you should call is when you're in the house. You should never call before, I can't help you because you're not in the appointment. And you ask for help, you listen to trainings, you work hard. After 90 days, you've done everything you believe you can do, and it ain't working, let me help you, quit. Now, the company would make money if you didn't quit and wrote 2 policies a month, except you'd make no money. So quit. I didn't like my job. Exactly. And today, think about, write down, talk to yourself about what is your plan B if it don't work. Well, I don't have one. Then start acting that way. Like, if I love you, but let's just do the 2 of them. If the 2 of them come at me, because, I mean, I love you, but I'm just like, I ain't worried about you compared to those 2.
Hey, man, I've been worried about them too, bro.
No, no doubt. So if it's just me against them and it's my life, buckle up. If it's for fun, it's like, But if my life depends on it, it's going to be an ugly battle for all 3 of us. You have to decide how serious this is for you. You have to decide what you're going to change today. You should come out of this with 5 or 7 things you're going to change about what you're doing. You should say, you know what? On the phone, I'm going to start doing this. In the home, I'm going to start doing this. You know what? I was trying to do everything over the phone, but I'm going to get out in my car and drive and go to appointments. I'm willing to make those sacrifices. I ain't preaching to nobody. Paul McLean's got a church. He's much more qualified. If any of you pray for me. I need all the prayers I can get, so I'm in. But I do know this. I do know that when we made a decision to start serving people, and it wasn't about a dollar bill, our company exploded. Yes, we affiliated with Dream Center, done a lot of amazing things, but I can also tell you that God's in charge because half the time I don't know what the hell I'm doing and it works out. So somebody's in charge, and it ain't any of you. It ain't me. I'm like, try this, and it works. You're like, holy crap, I didn't see that coming. You have to decide how you're going to change lives. You have to ask good questions. You have to challenge people. If you're uncomfortable, tell them you're uncomfortable. If you're confused, tell them that you're confused. If you're trying to figure out what they're thinking about and you're trying, ask them. Be assertive. People like assertive people. People like bold. And if you're uncomfortable when you come to my house, I'm going to say no. You call me, you're uncomfortable, you're going to say no. If you sound like a telemarketer, I'm going to say no. So all the stuff we do is to make you understand how simple this really is. At the end of the day, you got somebody, and the better way to explain our clients is they're 1.5% of the population that's very, very, very trustworthy. Would any of you fill something out and send it back to somebody you didn't know with your personal information on it? I wouldn't. Would you? Would you just, you would, never in a million years. Internet, direct mail, Facebook, never, right? We're not selling to us. And that's the struggle that most of us have. We try to think about what we would say if we were the client. We're not the client. They're probably the most trusting part of the, matter of fact, if you want to do anything else with them and market something to them, these are your people. You know what I mean? I'm being honest with you. These are your people. They've said, I need you to help me. We've got something figured out. We have hundreds of thousands of instant internet life leads sitting there. Sitting there. We have people that call them, message them, leave them voicemails. When Dom and I were working together, he's like, well, they didn't answer. I'm like, leave them a voicemail. Do any of you leave voicemails when they don't answer?
Yes.
What did your voicemail say when they don't answer?
I usually just say, hi, this is Patricia, I'm just getting back to you. You can call me at.
Okay, so nobody will ever call her back. I love you, right? They might on occasion. So how about this? I go, hey, my voicemail is, hey, Patricia, Shawn, Benefit Center. We've been calling. You got this thing you filled out? And I wait, and I got to get it out to you. I have 100 or so in your community. I'm coming out Saturday. I'll be at your house Saturday at 10 a.m. I drive a blue Honda Accord. If that's a problem, call me back at ... But I have to get the information to you. It's a requirement since you filled it out. See you at 10. Looking forward to it. Click. Oh, me too. And it worked. And if they call back, they sure as hell going to be there. Because the ones that don't call back are the ones that like, dude, I ain't going to be here anyway, right? So for me, I want to be more assertive. Take a picture of it and send them a text. I'm getting back to you. I will be there tomorrow at 5. I have 4 in your area. Let's do it tomorrow at 8. They respond back, I'm working late. Good, let's do midnight. You have to be, see, if people are going to act stupid, you have to too. When your kids say stupid stuff, my son was like 8. He's like, I'm not showering today. I was like, good, I'm not feeding you either. You get fed when you shower. I'll take a shower then. Okay, sounds good to me. Whatever you prefer. I'm not going to starve the kid. He's not going to not shower. But you got to meet stupid with stupid sometimes. You know, I don't remember doing that. Any of the stuff they say, but you have to be assertive. When you knock on somebody's door, you don't ask them for an appointment. You ask them if you want to they want you to take your shoes off. You're already there. And you walk in and you're nice. When they don't answer the door and you know they're there, you call them up. You tell them somebody, somebody said to me one day, I was doing that whole, I think you're sick, something might have happened, to call 911. I started calling people going, hey, I think we have an appointment and I'm here. And I hear somebody in your house, I think somebody broke in, I'm going to call 911. You're not home. We had an appointment at 10 a.m. and somebody's in your house. And they call me right away. What are you doing? I'm like, oh, God, I thought somebody broke in the house. No, that's us. I'm like, oh, you all didn't hear me banging the door. Okay, got it. I need you to come open the door. And they'll do it. Because it is, but here's the thing. This is the thing that if you don't think that way, you'll fail. Why, if you book an appointment with me and tell me to be there at 10 a.m. on a Saturday and I show up, why the hell would you have the right to hide from me? I did exactly what you asked me to do. You said you wanted the life insurance. I did my job, and you're going to hide behind your sofa? Nah, not on my watch, bro. I'm here. I can sit in your driveway until you call somebody. I ain't going nowhere. But you know why? Because I want to take care of your family. Passionate about protecting you. See, you don't do that to make a paycheck. I can move on to the next person. I can move on to the next 5 people. You have to start thinking and being more presumptive and more aggressive in what we're doing because it is life and death. And you're going to have a death claim. And here's the problem. I go out and meet people. I used to go out and meet them all the time after somebody else met them and didn't help them and somebody died. And who would have been the beneficiary sends something back in and is like, hey, I call them and they go, somebody's out here for my husband, for me, and we never got it. I met a lady, 31 years old. Her husband killed himself, okay? She fills it out. It's his name on it because he killed himself like 2 days before I get there. I call her. She's bawling her eyes out. I book an appointment. I show up. She's like, I can't even talk right now. It's for my husband. He just killed himself in my daughter's bedroom. And I was like, wow. She goes, I filled that thing out 9 months ago for him. And I was like, what? And so I said, you need to get life insurance. She's like, I can't right now. I'm like, ma'am, I'm not mad or anything. I'll do whatever you ask me to do, but I really need to help you. I get her life insurance, $250,000 life insurance. 3 months later, she gets diagnosed with something that precludes her from getting life insurance. She's still alive right now. She won't be for a long time. Had I not done that day, and people go like, I'll come back. And listen, I feel bad. I don't want nothing to happen. I feel awful that it happened. I can't undo that. Let's move forward and get you something. But you have to understand, if you don't act like they're going to die or get sick that night when you leave, if you didn't give it everything you have, see, at the end of the day, that's a big part of what we're doing here. Giving it everything you have. That's the stuff that you all need to keep pushing on. And you're trying, because you're all so nice. Maurice's nice, Christina's nice. You're all so nice. Congratulations, senior sales manager, by the way. Great job. Paul told me. That's awesome. But you're so nice. But at the end of the day, being nice is harming people. You're harming them. You go, I don't want to do it your way. You mean the way where I protect them? And you're protecting you. Oh, you wouldn't get uncomfortable. Mike Sides used to say to me all the time, he's like, I get really uncomfortable when people are older. I wasn't raised to be, direct with them. I was like, oh, so you're a lying coward, basically. He's like, no. I go, well, you go out to the house, you're worried about you, God forbid they're mad at you. You leave them all uninsured, they're all 70, 80 years old, they're all going to die much sooner than everybody else, and you just leave them and you become friends with them. You know what I told him? Quit selling life insurance. Get out, you're going to hurt people. This decision you've made to protect people isn't a game. The number one cause, they say, of suicide is financial, for you get to adults, is financial issues. It's not just there's stuff going on. We're not talking about teenage kids. We're talking about adults who are in this life. Any of you ever been broke? It's an awful feeling. Ever been broke with your kids or with your family? That's even worse. And if you've not been there, ask somebody that has. But at the end of the day, I'll leave you with this. I was in this business 2 weeks, just like Schmidt. I wanted to make, I was a social worker by heart, by trade, making $65,000 a year. I wanted to make more money. That was it. I was getting my insurance license, okay? I wasn't enamored by, I'm sorry, I wasn't that deep yet. Girl comes in my office one day, we recruit her. I said, will you say some things? There's like 9 of us in the meeting, because we got nobody in the team. We just started. She goes in front of the room and she says, yeah, I have an experience with life insurance. I had no idea who she was, what she was doing. She said, my father died when I was 8, 9, unexpectedly. My mom had $250,000. I said, oh, that must change your life. She goes, well, and starts crying. She said, it did change our lives for a while, but there's 3 of us. And by the time I got into college, my mother was broke. My mother started drinking a lot, and my mother last year killed herself. We were just broke as can be, and she killed herself. And she said, so what I will tell you guys is there's never too much life insurance. And it changed the way I thought about everything. So they're going to give you a lot of practical stuff they're doing today, and they should. Eric Schmidt's going to walk you through what he does. That's awesome. Everybody's going to walk you through exactly what they do, but if you don't change your thought process and put other people first, it will not matter. That's a nice voicemail. Hey, Tina, I'm getting back to you, but it's the salesy telemarketing thing. Hey, man. Hey, Kevin, I got your thing. I'm coming out. Why do you got to come out? Don't know. Why'd you fill it out? See you tomorrow at 6. I just want to take care of it over the phone. I wish we could too anyway. So I'll see you tomorrow at 6. How long is it going to take? It'll take a lot longer if you keep asking me these questions. See you tomorrow at 6. I don't understand why you got to come out. Me neither at all. My boss is down the hall. I'd ask him every day why we got to come out to people's houses. I'll see you tomorrow at 6. I just need to drop it off. You can throw it away if you want to. You go, what do you even say when you get there? They open the door, they shake their hand, they realize you give a damn about them, and they'll actually listen to you. When people know you care, they don't give a damn how much you know about anything. And that's the thing that we're struggling with. And that's what happens a lot. It gets up, it gets down. They charge back, you write one for $500 a month. Whatever. It's just a numbers game. Be bold, or you will die in this business. And that's a fact. They'll be nicer and tell you how great it's going to be. Absolutely not. You'll be marching to certain death. No different. You worked your job, and if you were scared and you were terrified and you were ambivalent, they would have eaten you alive. That's the way that it works. So, Schmidt, I've known Schmidt forever. I can't tell you how proud I am to see what he's done, because I do believe now he builds that business to just serve other people. And that to me has been a very big change. There was nothing wrong with him going to want to make money for his family. Good for him. But he's switched that whole thought process now and has fallen in love with protecting families and also helping agents get to where they want to get to. It's been a work in progress, Liz. It's been a work in progress. I'm still sober. I'm still sober throughout the whole thing. And he's had to tolerate me, so it's been a good deal. But I mean this. I really appreciate y'all being here. I don't take that lightly. Marisa and all y'all appreciate you putting this event on. Paul, none of this is free. It's free to you guys, and it's not free. But you make a decision that you want to change something. Now follow through with it. Leave here with an action plan. If you're uncomfortable, you're growing. If you're not, you're dying.